are banned!
Tel Aviv is stolen land!
Tel Aviv is stolen land!
So my name is Sunil. I'm a faculty here at the new school. We are here at the first ever Faculty Solidarity Encampment, named after the poet and professor Rafat Al-Arir, who was murdered by an IOF strike, airstrike, in December of 2023. We dedicate this first faculty encampment in his honor and to all the martyrs of the Palestinian struggle. We are here as faculty to ensure that the student voices are not only heard, but that we as faculty step up and demand that this administration listen to both the overwhelming majority of their community, such as their students, their staff, and their faculty, and their alumni, but as well the broad majority of the American public who want to see war end and the war profiteers and the warmongers, such as these weapons manufacturers like Raytheon and Boeing, out of our universities, right? And so we are here primarily to divest and to ensure that the tuition money that these students work their asses off to come get an education here, that money is not going to killing children in Rafah, in Gaza, and Palestine. So, we have a list of demands. We have 5 core demands. The first one is divestment. We want full divestment from the 13 weapons manufacturers that this university is currently embedded with financially. The second is an academic boycott of all Israeli institutions. This university has cultural ties with a music school in Tel Aviv, and we cannot accept that. We do not accept a genocidal state as a legitimate state. 3, we want full amnesty for our students, our faculty, and our staff. There's a heavy amount of pro-Palestinian repression and persecution on faculty, on students, here on this campus. A big one also, I put this at number 4, but really this is much higher up, realistically. We want all cops off our campus. We want to end the collaboration with the NYPD, which is a historically racist institution that has been overly militarized and given a full leash by the mayor of this city to do whatever they want, and we saw that yesterday when they brutalized 11 students and staff and community members who were harassed and brutalized by this fascist police department. We know that the head of security here is an ex-NYPD sergeant. We say that cannot continue. That cannot continue. We want all cops off this campus. It is not making anyone safe. It is putting students' lives in danger. Finally, our last demand is that there's a new student union workers association, or sorry, a new student workers union. Sorry, I get the name mixed up. And this is a new union that is dedicated to ensuring the demands are essentially able to take place and that there's fair elections for this student-run, democratically elected union. So those are our 5 main demands. We've been out here since Wednesday. It is now Friday. This is day 2. The second day of the encampment saw heavy repression. It was a traumatic night. It was a traumatic night. Students were pepper sprayed for exercising their ability to articulate the things that we teach them as professors. This is supposedly a radical school. What are they calling it here? Social justice, unequal world, sociology of fascism. We see all of the sociology of fascism right with our administration. We don't need a class on a sociology of fascism because it's right here.
I served in the military for about 12 years. I left in 2012. I was part of the invasion into Iraq in 2003. It's something I regretted ever since. I grew a lot since that time. I'm 48, it's hard to believe, but I'm a parent now, and I realized that we were wrong. And looking back, we were wrong in Vietnam, and we've been wrong in so many times. And we have, for us to grow, we have to admit when we were wrong. And because we never learned, we're doing it again in Gaza. So that's why I just want to come out as a veteran who's seen combat. I've been back as a civilian to Iraq twice. I've been to Ukraine 2 years ago. And I could tell you violence, it sounds like a cliche, but the innocent people don't deserve it. It's a government issue, it's a political issue, but we cannot solve it through killing people. All that does is make more enemies. Afghanistan, Taliban control Afghanistan now, and everything that we did after 9/11 has only made the world worse. So that's why I'm here. I want to hold ourselves accountable. We could do better.
Now, what do you think about Israel? Israel thinks they can bomb their way to safety. As a veteran, your experience, how does that ever work?
That you could never change people's mind through violence. The only way that there's peace, in my opinion, is for them to come together with dignity, with equity, where they feel like it's fair. It's not easy. There's a lot of trauma on everybody's history. So we have to acknowledge the trauma. We have to acknowledge that the priority is for peace for whether Jewish, Palestinian, whether atheists. The priority is how do we have empathy for everyone and not just one side or the other. There's too much information now. You cannot hide the atrocities. It will live forever in the internet. And they will grow up, someone who lost their parents today, just as what happened in Afghanistan, they will grow up and they will fly another plane into the next Twin Tower because they've been living with that trauma. So you can never bomb yourself out of it. There's videos everywhere. So as adults, we have to be bigger and do the things that we teach our kids to do, which is how to love. We have to learn how to love and be a bigger person and not just push the trauma to the next generation.
What do you think about when the Democrats and Biden, they talk about the threat to democracy if Trump gets back into power, but yet they're not listening to the American voters, they're not listening to the people. Majority of Americans want a ceasefire, want a deal. How is this a democracy that we live in? And then we see the police, how they treat protesters, peaceful protesters, and then treating students. How is this democracy?
Because they want, the Republicans want to live in their bubble, the Democrats want to live in their bubble. Even though I would side with more Democrat in general issues, they're just as bad because they just want what's good for them. It's about money, it's about comfort. Biden voted for the Iraq war. Biden was lack of nuance in how he responds to October 7th. And he's not gonna learn. So we need people who really, Representative Cori Bush, Representative Tlaib, they have been out front, and they have the courage. A lot of our Democrats don't have the courage. So we need a third party. Maybe this is the third party.
Right. Have you seen the way police have been responding to protests?
I've seen it.
As your military experience, can you talk about how they're treating these peaceful protesters, and yet,
I think I want to be fair. First, I'm not qualified to say because I haven't seen every incident. I was here yesterday when they arrested one of the students. But I think I was in the military, so it comes down from the top, the leadership. The leadership says it's okay, and then the police would do it. I think it comes down to the mayor, to all the chiefs in the police department. They have to be accountable for that. I'm not gonna blame a 21-year-old police officer, and they deserve blame. Don't get me wrong, but it comes from the hierarchy. So you need to vote out the mayor.
So now we're at a point right now where between authoritarianism towards fascism, but really we're talking about an advanced degree of capitalism. So then why are we standing in front of this place? The students organized first, the faculty followed, But this is just an extension of the state. This is where you go into debt to get disciplined how to think. To get disciplined on how to think. Then you come out with debt. And you think you're free, but the only places you work at are the places that you hate to work at. That's not a life worth living. And I'll tell you, during the Oslo peace process with the Palestinian people, Israel demanded that the Palestinians recognize Israel's right to exist. What did Israel recognize? That the Palestinians can speak and they will be heard by them. The asymmetry is through and through. They rather you involve in negotiations and then you co-sign on your death, co-sign on your failure, create divisions amongst you, when in fact they can stop their shit in a second. They just don't want to.